All right, Christian, you're wearing the jersey. You're here for it. And oddly enough, you're wearing a player who's not even on your team anymore, which
Right?
is
Yeah.
a running theme going into this season, considering y'all
Oh,
traded everybody away. But we're going to talk about the Miami Dolphins. And yes, Christian,
hell
we are
yeah.
actually going to have some stuff to say about them other than, oh, they're bad. I was so annoyed. I was watching a short and somebody was like, the challenge was, can you name 10 Dolphins players? And people who are like content creators for football, they're like, oh man, I love football. I don't know if I can do it. And all the comments are like, oh man, I only got to like 5. I'm just sitting here losing my mind. I'm like, guys, what are you doing? How do you not? I mean, like, it frustrates me because this team does have. Look, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say this team is good. Okay, I'm not gonna do that.
No,
I'm not gonna do that. But
you
like,
shouldn't.
to
Don't get me
pretend
out.
like this team doesn't have some good pieces and some nice building blocks and infrastructure, like genuinely, their offensive line is pretty good. I'm a big fan of their offensive line. I think they could have a really solid offensive line this year. I have some optimism for
Finally, we've been begging for that. We've
like
been begging.
I have some optimism about their receiver core. Is it going to be good this year? No, but like they have some rookies that they drafted that I'm very excited about the long-term future of.
Y'all
And
got
then
some young talent. Got
yeah,
some young talent.
they still have Devon
Young,
A.
nice
Chain.
talent.
They have a nice tight end. They have a
God,
decent tight
dang,
end
we
room.
haven't. We're on the coaching
No,
segment.
I know. I'm
Way
giving a
ahead.
summary of what we're going to
Okay.
talk about. And then you're going to hear me talk about this linebacking core. When we get to it,
Oh,
I'm not going to spoil what I think about it, but like,
well,
don't sleep on
linebacker
this
core. Can't wait
linebacking
to watch
core.
it.
That's all I'm saying.
I excited to watch this linebacker core.
So, Christian, you are correct, though. I'm being rude and spoiling the broth. We got to talk about the coaches first. And I'm going to let you tee this off because it is your team. What are your thoughts on Jeff Halfley coming in and John Eric Sullivan as GM?
Yeah, John and Sullivan coming in, and Jeff Halfley, as we've already just but just to rehash a little bit. Both came over from the Green Bay Packers. Love that combination. I love that now we have a GM and head coach that should be in lockstep on this process to getting the Miami Dolphins back into being, um, in contention, one of these like perennial Super Bowl or playoff teams and all that stuff. So I do love this move. Excited for Jeff Halfley and John Eric Sullivan as well as the GM. As we know, I think a lot of our problems uh, that reared its ugly head last year was I think due to our last GM, Chris Greer, and the decisions he made. Putting a lot of money and stock into the receiving core of this team, paying Tua all the money and stuff, and just some of the roster stuff he did on defense with like the Bradley Chubb really didn't really pan out that well. I am excited for hopefully Chop can do better this year, but
Yeah.
yeah. But I do think this is a this coaching staff I think is pretty interesting, but I do like Jeff Halfley a lot of optimism there, and what he can scheme up for this defense. Um, Two big names here on the offensive side of the ball, coaches wise. We got Kevin Patullo. I don't know if you recognize that name, but he's the
Eagles
Eagles
fans, cover
offensive
your
coordinator.
ears.
He's now our pass game coordinator. And old fan favorite of the podcast, Bobby Slowick of
Oh,
Houston
man.
Texans fame, offensive coordinator. But hey, Brett Coleman wasn't too vicious on the Bobby Slowick. I thought he was pretty kind to Bobby Slowick. So if Brett Coleman's, a guy who knows way more football than me, and this was his offensive coordinator for his team that he loves, the Houston Texans, and it didn't went very well his CJ Stroud's rookie year, and then the second year didn't go well. He got fired and all that stuff. But no, I think Bobby Slowick. I think we have some optimism. have optimism for a lot of this because yes, we're not going to be very good, but I think Bobby Slowick, I think we have the scheme that he wants to do. You know, that wide zone, you know, stuff everybody's doing. Devon Achane, we know what he can give you there in the run game, and so I think that's what we're going to be focusing on because, like you said, the receivers aren't anything to wow you at. The one guy I was hopeful we were going to keep, we traded him away to Denver. But I don't know. Brett Coleman brought up this very interesting thing about timeline, and it made a lot of sense. Like Jalen Waddle is not on the Malik Willis timeline.
Yeah,
You know, Jalen
100%.
Waddle's 27, going on 28. You know, he's going to be a lot older. Hopefully, Malik Willis pops in this year, so you know we don't have to be in this quarterback competition. That's probably going to happen after this season, because you know this quarterback class upcoming, I think is pretty deep. Arch Manning's in this group. See what how Texas does.
For
If he
sure.
plays better, then you know he's going to be a hot topic there. So yeah, if Brett Coleman can be like, yeah, I think Bobby Slope will work. I'm gonna trust in his word, and I think Kevin Patula, hopefully, you know, these two work out very well. But yeah, and then on the defensive side, Sean Duggan is our defensive coordinator. Haven't really heard a lot from him about him, but you know Jeff Halfley there. I want to say he probably came over from Green Bay, so they're going to be lockstep on how they're going to run this defense. I think it's going to be very very interesting, very kind of disguise heavy. You know, bringing in run blitzes and all that stuff because you know the situation that he left in Green Bay is kind of reared its ugly head here because take a look at our safety room. I am excited for one Chris Johnson there, but he is a rookie. Everyone else is kind of just like, ooh, I don't know, but I'm excited. I'm excited. A lot of optimism.
Yeah, I think, look, I go very much back and forth on this because I I do think Jeff Halfley did a pretty good job last year in Green Bay. I mean, it's a very zone heavy scheme, but a lot of that too, the question is like how much of that is because that's what he wants to run. I think that's mostly what he wants to run, but also like Green Bay's personnel on the defense, particularly as the
They
season went
had a
on,
lot of
it had a lot of issues, especially in that cornerback room. So,
yeah,
I think it makes sense that like
and
he
it's
was.
not great over here.
Well, exactly, and that's what I think. Like you're gonna see a lot of that zone scheme again from Jeff Halfley, but my biggest concern with Jeff Halfley is I'm very skeptical on if like you're asking a guy to come in and run a building. Like that's what you do as a head coach. You run a building, and he has ran a building one time in his career. It was in college at Boston College, and it did not go well. It did not go well. And that is my biggest concern with him going in is it's like I think you're a good defensive coordinator, but do I think you're such a good defensive coordinator that you should be given one of the 32 NFL jobs? I don't know about that, but sure, okay, fine. But then, like, your track record of running a building is not great. So those elements of it worry me. The Bobby Slowick thing, like, and I'm kind of speaking out of both sides of my mouth because on one hand, I'm like, Jeff Halfley, I don't know. But then I'm going to say, Bobby Slowick, let's give him another chance, though. Let's give him a second chance. But, I mean, I do think there is something like, and, this could apply to Jeff Halfley, too. Like, I'm not going to lie, but I think people, like, this is a job. People lose their jobs. They get fired for poor performance, and they come back and they learn a little bit from it, and they apply for another job, and you try to do a little better next time. Like these are people at the end of the day. So like Bobby Slowick is a young guy. He obviously had some issues in Houston that he did not adjust to well. This is a new opportunity for him to show, hey, I've learned some things. I've reflected.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to just quit on Bobby Slowick because he had a bad ending of a stint in one stop. Which for the record, like it's not like Houston's offensive personnel was cooking with fire when he was there. For the record, but I mean, yeah, offensively, does the Kevin Patullo, Bobby Slowick combination worry me a little bit? Yeah. Like, I would be silly if I said I didn't have concerns, but I'm willing to give them a chance. I'm willing to give Jeff Halfley a chance. And, some of what John Eric Sullivan has been saying, I've really liked. He's got a quote out there, fast gets slow, but big doesn't get small. They're trying to prioritize big-size people, and they did that. They went and got Caden Proctor, which is maybe the biggest dude in the – I don't even know technically if he was, but he had to be one of, if not the biggest dudes in the draft this season, putting him at guard. I mean, that's going to be crazy. So,
Dude, those Aaron Brewer, Caden Proctor duo blocks.
Yeah,
Woo!
Dude. And, I mean, Jonah Savanea, like –
those are going to be insane.
I know people are down on Jonah Savanea, but – I think Jonah Savanea could improve, and I think he'll have a bounce back. And, this is a new scheme. And, again, it was a totally different scheme from what he was asked to do in college. It's the same thing we talk about with, like, Travion Henderson, right? You have a rookie who is coming into a whole new system. There's a learning curve. And, I mean, not only that, but it's a learning curve against some of the best athletes in the world. Like, that's going to be tough. And I have not lost faith on Jonah Savanea. Is he going to be elite? I don't think so. But, like, if you could just get him to serviceable next to an elite center and Aaron Brewer, next to Caden Proctor, who I think has a lot of upside. I really like Patrick Paul.
We got him signed. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting us.
And
he came along last year, Patrick Paul.
Yeah, I really like Patrick Paul.
I was a little worried about him.
He needs to improve in his pass pro, but his run protection is really good. And then, Austin Jackson is probably not here for the long haul. I think the plan is to bump Caden Proctor out to replace him eventually. But for this season, Austin Jackson's fine. He's okay. So he's okay. He's okay. It's, again, like, you're not trying to be amazing, but compare, I feel like the narrative of how this team is being treated, it's not that bad. Like, as far as an offensive line goes, like, you'd think this team's supposed to have one of the 3 worst offensive lines in the league. They have serviceable guys at basically every position if Jonah Savanea cannot be a total disaster this year. Which, again, we're caveating a lot, but it is supposed to be one of the worst teams in the league. As far as, I would be remiss. Like, I feel like I've already talked a lot about this team, and I haven't even mentioned Malik Willis, who is, fun fact for you, Christian.
Big
the Dolphins, they had the largest dead cap hit in the history of the sport, right? We know that.
Yeah, we knew that.
They gave Malik Willis the big contract. They didn't give a single player, any other player in free agency, more than $1.5 million.
Yeah, we can't. We couldn't.
Nobody on this team going into this season has a salary cap hit of more than $12 million. Like, it is just bare bones trying to pay off that bill.
I mean, I love that we took our medicine, which I love that we're seeing that across the league. It's like, hey, you made a mistake. You kind of got to deal with it. I mean, you see what Denver did. Like, after they got off the Russell Wilson thing, they immediately turned it around. So, going back to Malik Willis, I mean, it's going to be hard. I mean, he has some talent. Like, he has Devon Achane in the backfield. He at least has that. Tutu Atwell has been a Jalen Reagor.
Yeah. Hopefully he doesn't see the field, but
I didn't know he was still in the league. Okay, I'm sorry. I was looking at the depth chart. Jalen Reagor. Tutu Atwell has been a starter. Jalen Tolbert, he's been around. He was on the Cowboys. Is that the Jalen Tolbert I'm thinking of?
It is. Okay,
the same one. He has some good catches in Dallas there. Malik Washington here. We drafted Chris Bell. And we brought him in as well. Caleb Douglas, and Kevin Coleman Jr. So young receiver room. A lot of guys. I mean, there's a chance for a lot of these guys to play. I think Jeff Halfley. I think from what I've heard from, I think listen to Brett Coleman podcast. He's like a guy that'll be like, hey, I need you. I told you to be here. If you're not there, you're not gonna play. So I mean, you're gonna have a lot of opportunity to see. I see these guys. Can't wait. I think this preseason, hopefully to be locked in. Get to be able to see some of their preseason games. Really, really excited to watch all of this. But I mean, hey, Devon Achan, we got back there, and I think it's going to be a very, very heavy dose of Devon Achan. But I like Ollie. Ollie Gordon, I think, is going into his second year. I think also Jalen Wright is also going into his second year as well. Did we bring both those guys in? I cannot remember. Tight end room, not the
Greg
best.
Dulcich
Not
gonna
many
ball
guys.
out this year. I'll tell you that much.
You think so?
Oh yeah, Greg
Okay.
Dulcich gonna ball. I think he will. I think Greg Dulcich gonna ball. And Will
Okay,
Kazmarek,
cool. Because
another rookie tight end. It's like my favorite theme of this series we've done so
yeah,
far. Like it's and there's their rookie tight end. Oh, and there's their rookie tight end.
I'm optimistic for this offense, even though, yeah, like I mean, like was already said so many times before, shouldn't do well. But hey, if Malik Willis pops this year, or just shows enough flashes, man, it'll be so great if we're in top five and those first four picks all go quarterbacks.
Mm.
Oh my God, we get the best player in the draft outside of court. Oh my God,
You know who
dude,
it's gonna be, right?
uh,
You know who you guys are gonna draft. You gonna draft
Jeremiah
Jeremiah
something.
Smith. You gonna draft Jeremiah Smith. That's what my prediction.
Jeremiah.
Like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you draft Jeremiah Smith if he's the
I
first
mean,
player available? Or you could get
it's
a nice edge rusher.
I'm
Like, it's
re-
gonna be a loaded class, so you kind of go anywhere.
I mean, if we can get in this top five range, like I'm hoping we win some games. Obviously, I don't want us to lose every game, but if we could just get in that top five there and just get a or top 10, maybe, I don't know. I would love to be top five. 'Cause I think a lot of I think a lot of quarterbacks are. I think the top four should be quarterbacks with these quarterback hungry teams like the Cardinals, potentially the Jets as well. Who we'll talk about the Jets. I have a lot of good things about to say about the Jets, which is crazy. And so if we get that fifth pick, mm, I think we'll be, as my mom would say, cooking with gas.
Mm. Yeah, I love it. I think,
But yeah,
yeah,
again, I don't know if it all depends on Malik Willis. If
yeah, I
Malik
think
Willis can,
it's a weird needle to thread because you want Malik Willis to be good, but you also need to lose a lot, and
yeah,
it's
I
it's a
want us to not win every game.
yeah. So it's I'd be curious to see how that goes. I think it's possible. Like you know, this team does have a lot of holes. And again, like I love that you talked about the receivers. I am very excited about the rookies they have. Chris Bell, this was like the
Mhm.
perfect team to take him because he's gonna miss the first half of the season. But I really like when I watch Chris Bell, a lot of people are comparing him to like AJ Brown as far as his body type and play style. He really reminds me of like Des Bryant. Like he reminds me a lot of Des Bryant, kind
Ooh,
of blends with AJ Brown,
can
like
he
a
be a
poor
better
man's
route
Des
runner?
Bryant. Well, that's his thing. He's not a great. He's very much this big body guy that's gonna go just bully the ball. So
Mhm.
like it's not bad, but Caleb Douglas. When I was straight up about this during our draft episode. I was very locked into the draft. I had not heard of Caleb Douglas when y'all took him. I have since gotten to go back and
Who?
watch a little bit of him. I mean, literally, I was like, "Who?" And the draft thing I was watching, which again is like full of sickos. They were like, oh, "I have no idea who this is." And then you have Dan Brugler, who is the sicko. He's the beat. He writes up the beast for the Athletic. He's like, "Oh, I can't believe they took him here. That's crazy." But the mental gymnastics. I love Kevin Coleman Jr. I'm such a fan. Kevin Coleman, I got turned on to him by that franchise guy, Marcus Whitman, and he really turned me on to Kevin Coleman Jr. as just an all around great guy. And I think the fact that they got him in the fifth round, absurd, absolutely absurd that they got him there. I think he is going to be so good. So like again, the receiver talent is thin this year. Jalen Tolbert, Malik Washington, Tutu Atwell, and a bunch of rookies. But like the rookies that they got, I'm optimistic about what they can be. And like you think about what Chris Bell is as a body type and as a player. Caleb Douglas is a lot more of that Z receiver. He's going to be getting loose on vertical threats. He struggles with some intermediate and undercover stuff, but like he is a good vertical threat and he can stretch the field for you. And paired with Chris Bell, who's that big body guy, and then Kevin Coleman Jr., who's just a really solid all-around receiver. I really like the skill sets that they're blending in here. And then Greg Dulcich, as I said, I expect him to be a baller this year. I think that he's going to be Malik Willis's favorite target because this receiver room has a few questions. So, but
Yeah.
talking about this defense, Christian, you mentioned it at the top. I think this front seven, especially this defensive line, I'm very scared of it. I like some of it, but like if Chop Robinson does not have a return to form, I do
Yeah.
not know. Like
Yeah.
Joshua Uche, Cleveland Farrell is here. I like the Max Llewellyn draft pick, but
Crazy.
like Max Llewellyn is going to be a rotational guy. Like you're not going to expect anything more from him than rotation snaps. I like the interior defensive line. I like Kenneth Grant and Zach Sealer, who, for the record, Zach Sealer is
I
their number one cap hit this year. And then Jordan
so
Phillips is
what?
fine. He's their number one cap hit
Oh yeah,
this year,
because
Zach
we
Sealer.
we paid him last year, but yeah,
Yeah.
he was very disappointing last year.
Yeah, like, but I mean, I like in theory what they have there, but I mean, I don't know. Like, it's kind of Chop Robinson hits, or this is gonna be a brutal ride for this defensive line.
Yeah, but I think they supplemented that linebacking core to help back them up. We got Jordan. We brought in Jordan Brooks. Willie Gay is still here. He's been in the system. Jacob Rodriguez excited to see what he could do. He seems like, he's always around the ball and stuff like that. So, I mean, hey, sometimes it is just, hey, see ball, go get ball, bro. That's all I need to do. And then we got Kyle Lewis
Mm.
also from from Pittsburgh too. You like Kyle
Oh,
Lewis. Okay, love that. Excited to see what he can do. So I really like our line, but I think who I'm really excited for outside of Chris Johnson is our linebacking core.
of
Love
course.
this, and also obviously rooting for Chop Robinson to get back to that dominant force we saw his rookie year. And I think hopefully Jeff Halfley can get that out of him this season. So really really hoping for them. But yeah, really excited for this linebacking core. A lot of young guys, good veteran guys. Love that. And then on the defensive line, hopefully Zach Ealer can get back to that dominant force that we had in the interior on our defensive line. That's why we paid him. And then yeah, also mission Chop. And then for this secondary, it's a bit rough, but it's secondary. And look, Jeff Halfley. I mean, he's none too. He left Green Bay and was like, "All right, I'm done with this." With these corners and all not being healthy and everybody just not on the same page, and he walks into the Dolphins. He's like, oh, but yeah, like I said, brought in Chris Johnson. Uh, you put me on to him coming into this draft. I think Brett Coleman gave him praise.
Nice. I love to hear
Um,
that. I love to hear
and
that.
I I love it. I
Makes me feel like I
really
wasn't
hope
wrong.
this dude uh really pops. He had 4 interceptions last season. He returned 2 for touchdowns. Good instincts, zone, man, off man coverage. So I mean, we think this is going to be a very heavy zone team. So I think he will slot in there very good. He's very fast. Like he is, I think he has all the intangibles. Probably be he's a rookie, so he'll probably get beat. And this is the NFL, and he's going to be going up against Josh Allen and Drake May this season. God, we got a rough schedule. Patrick Mahomes. Oh my God. So yeah, it's gonna be tough, but hey, it's gonna be about the journey for this one. Trust the process, and I'm trusting the process. So I think we're taking our medicine with our cap, and yeah, and we stacked draft picks this past season, and I think going in, we also got some extra draft picks going into next year's draft. So I mean, hopefully is we see our young players show flashes and Malik Willis pops, and then man, dude, 2027 Miami Dolphins. I mean, I think we should be we should be a surprise playoff team
Oh, I like that. Yeah,
if
I mean,
everything goes well. I think if we because I think we have the right infrastructure, and then I think next year, this next off season, I think our cap gets a lot better.
it should, yeah. And I mean, y'all take your medicine this year to try to improve in this upcoming this upcoming season. Obviously, I'm looking up really quick what your cap space is projected to be. It's taken a little long, but yeah, y'all are projected to have the third most cap space as of right now, behind the Falcons and
So
the
yeah,
Cardinals.
if Malik Willis hits and our young players and Chop returns gets back to his rookie season, then damn, dude, we're a draft and an off season away from being, I think, a real playoff contenders. Now we're not going to say Super Bowl, but
Hey,
playoff
get to the
contenders.
playoffs first. Yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah, we need to get to the playoffs first.
you said it all. Like, genuinely. Again, this is something that I think people who aren't as locked in as us are going to miss. But like this linebacking core, legitimately, I think is going to be a top 5 linebacking core this year. Jordan Brooks just got paid.
Ooh,
I do. Jordan Brooks.
I don't
I do.
I don't know, but man, okay.
Jordan Brooks is already a top 5 linebacker. Jacob Rodriguez,
Yeah,
he's going to be a day one starter more than likely. Tyrell Dodson is still solid, but like I
wanted to
think
find
Jacob Rodriguez gets the
wanted to
nod.
find the ball,
But like he is,
get better in pass coverage. But yeah, I mean he's a rookie.
but also like he pairs really well with like Jordan Brooks. Like Jacob Rodriguez, he's gonna read out the defense. He's gonna be in the right spot, but like he might miss some tackles here or there. He's a little averse to the scrum. Is kind of my vibe of him watching him play. But Jordan Brooks isn't. Jordan Brooks is not averse to the scrum. Jordan Brooks can get in there and scrum it up. So I love that pairing. And then Kyle Lewis, you talk about a guy you could put it in. Wherever he was going to go, it's like somebody's got to have a special plan for him. He's kind of one of those players. I trust what Jeff Halfley is going to do with him, like putting him in the nickel as a safety, putting him in the linebacking core. Like you can move him and put him in a bunch of different places. And then, yeah, I mean, you talked about it in the secondary. Chris Johnson, my dude. Chris Johnson was my favorite player, or to me, the best player in the draft is Sonny Styles. I love Sonny Styles. Chris Johnson is my favorite player in the draft. It was just so frustrating to me because I'm scouting all these corners, and I've told this story several times. Like I'm scouting all these corners, and like I'm going down the list of consensus, and I'm seeing their tape, and I'm reading their profiles, and I'm kind of trying to pick apart what they do well and what they don't, and I'm ordering it, and I'm trying to do my like rudimentary grades, and I get to Chris Johnson, who is like everybody's like 5th or 6th corner, and I'm like, okay, yeah, let's see what Chris Johnson's got. And immediately, I'm like, why is this dude not like everybody's 1st or 2nd corner? Like, why is he like, it's just this consensus BS where people are just like, oh, everybody has him down there, I'm going to put him down there. And I'm like, this dude is like amazing. What am I missing? So, I mean, he plays inside, he plays outside, he plays man, he plays zone, he plays press, he's good in coverage, he's shaky at tackling, but okay, what else is new? The only knock on him, but he wasn't like a super athletic freak until he goes to the combine and we find out, oh yeah, he is. He's actually a super athletic freak. And then it's like, well, he didn't play against competition, and it's like, okay, so I get a cornerback for basically free at the end of the at the end of the 1st round because he didn't play against competition. He's gonna. I think he legitimately is gonna be. I don't know what's gonna happen. Mansour Delane went to the perfect spot, so I'll give Mansour Delane the nod. I think Chris Johnson is going to be the best or 2nd best corner in this draft class. Like, I love him so much. So, yeah, I'm very excited to see. And then I like Michael Taft in the safety room, but he's probably not going to play that much because he's just a rotational guy. Outside of that, though, it's tough. Juju Brents is nice, but Juju Brents can't stay healthy. Storm Duck, what you want to do with that? And, I'd be lying if I said I had a lot of
He was there last year. He was there last year.
Yeah, I
think
mean,
he was there last year.
It's a tough.
He was
room.
there, like, hey, yeah.
It's a tough room. So, like, I think you could see a situation where Chris Johnson is clearly their best secondary piece, but like, he has no help around him, and he's a rookie, so he's probably going to get
He has to play Drake May and Josh Allen twice, and he's going to play Patrick Mahomes. Easy,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I would just not be surprised if, like, I'm saying this right now. I think he could end up being the best or the second best. I think we could get to the end of this season, and people are going to go, "Wow, Jake, how was your Chris Johnson pick? He looked terrible." And it's like, he's a rookie playing with no help. Like, chill out. Give him some time. He gets a mulligan this year. I'm not knocking him for this year. I'm not expecting great things from him this year, but I think year 2, year 3, you're going to see this guy really come on.
Have some flashes in there. Just okay. Like,
I agree. So, Christian, I don't know how much time we have to spend on this floor ceiling. I think this team will be, oh boy, where do you have them finishing in the division?
I can't really say this. I think I got them going forward.
I also have them 4th. I think their floor is 2 wins, and I think their ceiling is like 6.
Yeah.
Maybe 7.
I want to be in that 4. 7 a little too much. I like to be in that 4 to 5 range. But maybe if teams aren't as bad as teams are this year, maybe teams are a little bit better than what people think they will be. But I want to be in that lower echelon of teams. But yeah, I agree with you. 2 losses for our floor, ceiling 4 to 5, maybe 6. 7's a little too rich for my blood. But it just depends on how the other teams stack and then how the draft stacks up.
I will say, just to keep it a buck, everybody, if everybody remembers correctly, who was everybody's worst team going into last season? It was the Saints. Everybody said the Saints are going to be the worst team in the league this year. They weren't that. They weren't even close to that. They finished with the 8th overall pick. They were fine, and everybody this year has them as that they're a lot of, including yours, sleeper playoff teams. So like, we project these worst teams in the league to win 1 or 2 games. Don't be surprised if you look up and the Dolphins are a little better than you thought. As again, we talked about a lot. I don't know how many people that are not Dolphins podcasts are breaking down the Dolphins in the depth that we just did. Like, there's a handful of people, Brett Coleman, franchise guy, but like, I hope you walked away from this feeling like this team has got some pieces. It's not all doom and gloom.
Like we're not. No, there's a vision here. It's blurry right now, but there's a vision.
Blurry. Yeah, I totally agree. All right.